4 differences. Let's start one by one. So each difference will be done in 2 specific ways. One is classical method of writing a difference and the other is categorizing it into columns. Let's start. First difference. First difference is between hypocotyle and epicotyle region. So what is hypocotyle? Hypocotyle region is the region of embryonic axis that lies between the radical and the point of attachment of 2 cotyledons, which is known as hypocotyle region. Where what is important over here? Radical and the point of attachment to the cotyledons. Now, epicotyle is the region of embryonic axis that lies between the plumule. This is important. Plumule and the cotyledons, which is known as epicotyle. Hypo means below, epi means up. Remember like that. Hypocotyle pushes the seed above the epigeal germination. Epicotyle pushes the plumule above the soil in hypogeal germination. And lastly, it is an important component of embryonic root system. It is important where? In root system, whereas epicotyle is important component of the shoot system. Okay, now let's categorize it. Okay, categories like where will you find it? The region that lies between and right radical and the attachment of cotyledons. Epicotyle will be found between plumule and cotyledons. Now, function of hypocotyle pushes the seed above the soil, whereas epicotyle will push the seed, pushes the plumule above the soil. Now, lastly, importance, root system and shoot system. Okay, students, so we are done with difference 1. Now, starting with difference 2. Difference 2 is coleoptile and coleorhiza. So, coleoptile. Coleoptile is the shoot apex and few leaf primordial are enclosed in the hollow follicular structure in epicotyle region is called coleoptile. What is it? Oh. What is it? The shoot apex and a few leaf primordial are enclosed in a hollow foliar structure in epicotyle region in monocots and is called coleoptile. Now, in coleorhiza, what you're supposed to write here is the radical and the root cap are situated at the lower end of an embryonic axis into undifferentiated sheath called coleorhiza. Okay, students? So, coleorhiza again. This is present in root system and this is present in this is present in shoot system and this is present in root system. Coleoptile will come out of the soil, whereas coleorhiza will remain inside the soil. Look at the arrows I'm making. Coleoptile will emerge from the soil and it turns green and does photosynthesis, whereas coleorhiza will remain inside the soil and it will not change color and it is not green in color as it stays inside the soil. Now, categorizing it. What is coleoptile and coleorhiza? So, write it is a sheet protecting young shoot tips, whereas coleorhiza is a sheet protecting young root tips. It remains outside of the soil, outside. Coleorhiza will remain inside of the soil and coleoptile turns green in color and does photosynthesis, whereas coleorhiza will not turn green in color and stays in the soil. So this is how you're supposed to write the difference. So we are done with 2 differences. Now, third difference, integument and testa. So what is integument? It is a protective covering of an ovule, whereas testa is the protective covering of the seed. Integument is living and it is thin, whereas testa is thick and dead. And lastly, it is a part of pre-fertilization. This is important, students. Integument is a part of pre-fertilization, whereas testa is a part of post-fertilization. Okay? So, categorizing this, we have integument. Start writing. It is protective covering of ovule, whereas testa is protective covering of seed. And there's yes and no. So, it is thick, yes. Testa, no. Thick, no. Testa, yes. Living, yes. Testa, no. Dead, no. Testa, yes. Part of pre-fertilization, whereas this is the part of post-fertilization. Okay, students? This is very easy to remember, and if you write it like this, it is better. Okay, now going further. So we are done with 3 differences. See how easy and fast it was? Now going further to 4th difference. A 4th difference is perisperm and pericarp. Now, what is perisperm? Perisperm, it represents persistent remains of nucellus of the ovule in the seed, whereas pericarp represents the wall of fruit formed by an ovarian wall. Now, perisperm is a part of seed, pericarp is a part of fruit. So, perisperm belongs to seed, whereas pericarp belongs to fruit. Perisperm is usually dry, whereas pericarp can be dry or fleshy. Here, students, we are done with difference number 4 as well, and when you categorize it into columns, it will look something like this. So, right, it is perisperm remains of nucellus in a seed, whereas pericarp is wall of the fruit formed by an ovary. Lastly, belongs to seed, belongs to fruit. Dry, yes, dry, could be dry. Whereas when it comes to fleshy, perisperm, no. Whereas pericarp could be dry or could be fleshy. Students, we are done with 4 differences. In total, you've got 8 differences and 2 types of each difference. So students, we're done with this question.